It was over far too quickly. Early in 2024, I wrote to my friend Barb and said, "I'm thinking of entering the Rustler, the 86k gravel race by the range." And she replied, "I'm in. I haven't got a gravel bike, but I won't let you down." And here we were, 6 months later in Claresholm, soaking up the local town. And for me, the first time ever signing on for a bike race, getting my race number and timing chip from the lovely volunteers.
It's something unpredictable, in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life.
Race day. A lovely sunny morning around 20 Celsius. We knew that in the afternoon it was going to be in the mid-30s. The ride started at 8 o'clock, so we would be back before the real heat of the day kicked in.
Mr. Barkman! There he is, on film.
And there was Corey Barkman, come to join in and hang out. It was so lovely to see him.
The first section is really fast. If you're not used to riding in a pack, maybe just give yourself some more space. The gravel actually...
And my friend Barb, ready to go on our lovely gravel bikes.
So it'll be a fast course kind of going out.
All right, guys, enjoy your day. Have fun, have fun. Ride safe, enjoy. Stop at the aid stations. Have a good day, guys. Have an awesome race.
It was a pretty special feeling going off down that gravel. I wasn't nervous, so much as super excited for a big day out on the bike. We were absolutely loaded with food and water, prepared to be self-sufficient, but knowing we had an aid station at our turnaround point. Heading out, Barb and I had the option of riding either the 60-kilometre rodeo ride, or if we felt good when we got to a junction way up the road, we could turn left and carry on for the full Rustler distance. But we really wanted to ride the Rustler.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot, straight down the road. All the bikes lined out.
Barb's got a lot of racing experience behind her, and we knew that we could do the distance. We'd trained hard for it all spring, but we weren't there to win prizes. We were there for a big day out, riding our bikes in beautiful countryside and having a brilliant time on this absolutely incredible gravel course. It was in perfect condition. My prep over the long, cold Calgary winter was to ride on Zwift, with outdoor riding as soon as the ice was gone from the paths. And I added weights and Pilates and some yoga in front of the telly, and it's all on Strava, so it all counts. As soon as we could get outside, Barb and I rode as much gravel around Calgary as possible. We have a couple of favourite rides that we would head to, and we started upping the distance, getting in some very hot 4-hour rides.
When dinosaurs ruled the earth.
I had this almost romantic vision that this is a landscape where dinosaurs had died, their bodies buried now deep in the coulees. Alberta is very fossil rich and the shape of the land feels ancient. I think the training prepared me very well to do this, though of course I wish I could have gone faster. I also knew the sort of pace I thought I could aim for, working from my heart rate zones, anticipating how my body would feel, and I came up with a target time. I expected to be back within about 5.5 hours maximum. It was a really hot day. There had been plans earlier in the week to shorten the race because it was going to be so hot, dangerously hot. But the day before we heard that the original course was back on. Barb and I had talked beforehand about how the very hot day might impact our decision making. Would we do the shorter rodeo or would we ride the Rustler as we'd hoped? Coming up to our junction, I saw Barb look back at me, turn her bike left, and I knew at that point she felt good and she was committed to the Rustler. I was thrilled.
Creek Road, 8 miles. That's where we're going.
Most of the race was ridden over public gravel roads. They were really quiet, and the traffic was mainly marshalling vehicles going back and forth checking on all the riders. By riding the Rustler, we were able to access a private road onto a working ranch, Burke Creek Ranch, and it's only available for this very special one day of the year. And here we go. This is our prize, down this super fast hill, onto the ranch, and there it all is, stretching out in front of us. Pristine Alberta grassland. I'd dreamed about all of this for a couple of years really, since I first learned about this race, of being out here in this countryside, having this experience, riding on this land. There are riders belting back past me. They're coming off of the 122 kilometre full range course. Yep, green badge, that person had ridden the range and they were really moving. Orange badge, like mine, they're riding the Rustler. Many of the bikes were like mine, using a 2x setup, and most people had a couple of water bottles and a hydration pack. I was drinking about 3/4 of a litre per hour, eating bars and homemade rice cakes on the way out, and boy were they good. Really kept the furnace stoked. I was so glad I had this gorgeous downhill all to myself. The valley scenery was just opening up around me. This was a feature that I was really looking forward to, the river crossing. We only had one wet river crossing, the other one was dry.
Here comes the footpath.
I was heading for my exit point, but the front wheel got knocked off course by a rock right at the edge. I love seeing hay bales in fields. It makes me happy. I grew up in the country and I rode land like this on my pony. There's real joy in seeing that feed being prepared for the winter. It makes me think of all the farmers I've ever known, how hard they worked, and just how important the work is. The fabulous volunteers who looked after us are mostly experienced bike riders too. They knew exactly what to do. Coke, chips, and dipping our bike helmets into ice water. It was so good. This is the wall. It's a real beast. Even many of the really good cyclists were going to be walking it. It's 1 kilometre long, and it maxes out at 17%.
Just like that, on the way back.
That was kind of the beauty of doing the Rustler course, for me, the intermediate distance. We didn't have to face the wall in that heat. Having slogged through 5 hours of riding in what felt like 34 Celsius, it might sound strange to say I would love to do it again. And I would love to ride the long course to challenge myself going over the wall. When I met up with Barb at the aid station, I was pretty thrilled when she told me we'd actually made it there before the posted cut-off time in order to take the long course. I hadn't even thought about that as a goal. It was a pretty sweet surprise. The reality though is that the extra 40-kilometre loop on the long course is really tough, and there's another 1,000 metres of climbing to do.
Now we climb.
So much of challenging myself to ride this event was about learning what my body is capable of now, and part of learning to trust it again after breast cancer. It was so great descending on my grizzle. It felt so sure-footed, as if it knew the way. It handled beautifully. Super responsive and comfortable. I absolutely love that bike. It was set up tubeless with 45mm Pirelli Centurato H tyres. I think those tyres were perfect for that course in that condition. And for other bike nerds, the tyre pressures were 30 psi at the rear and 29 at the front. And my chain was waxed, obviously. The climb out of the ranch averaged around 11%, and I knew I should keep something back for that. It actually went surprisingly well. I was up it before I knew it, puffing, but I stuck to my plan of not going too deep into the red. The gravel roads were in such great shape, they were so fast rolling. I think Garth Stotts, the organiser, called it hero gravel. I like that. The Trans Rockies truck passed us quite a few times during the day. They did an excellent job. There were a lot of vehicles going backwards and forwards, checking on the course and the riders, making sure there weren't serious mechanicals or people in difficulty. The ride felt so well supported. On the way back and getting passed by speedy riders. They've been out on the long course and are going like hell, and they're going to get back way before me, but you know what? I didn't care. I was just so happy to be out there. I couldn't call it racing because it was really just about being out there, and that's why I chose to stop and take some video. It's almost like I woke up about 15 kilometres from the finish and just had this feeling of it's nearly over, and I didn't want it to be over. Crossing that line was incredibly emotional. I was so joyful. I'd had a little moment when I let out a sort of primal wail all on my own, just out of sheer joy, somewhere around 5 corners from the end, when I realised, oh my God, I've nearly done it. I'm actually here. I trained, I committed, and I did it. Is this gonna end? I was pretty glad to get back and share some hugs, to congratulate Barb for being speedier than me, and have a really long drink and start eating all the snacks. But I still didn't want it to be over. I loved it. I'm so grateful to have done it. I'm so thankful for all the support that got me here, for the amazing organisation at the event, for the privilege of taking part, and really just for being alive, the opportunity to be out there on the land, living out all the preparation and learning more about how to nurture myself. It was an incredible experience, and it was over far too fast.